Hello and welcome. This is from the National Assembly. I'm Lami Ali. It is the season of budget defense engagements between ministries, departments, and agencies of government and standing committees of the National Assembly. Well, during the week, the Minister of Trade and Investments, Annette Uzoka, appeared before the joint committees of the National Assembly, that is, those of the House of Representatives and the Senate, on industry and trade and investments to defend the 2024 budget proposal of the ministry. This was how the budget defense session went. The Minister of Trade and Investment, while defending the ministry's spending plans for 2024 before the Senate, says a rebranding campaign tagged Make It in Nigeria is underway to sell and attract investment for Nigeria.
We will get back to the Honorable Minister to talk to us and then present our 2023 budget performance. Then, like I said, we'll ask questions, close that section, and then continue with 2024. Deliver the renewed hope for Nigerians. We are going to do everything within our powers to cooperate, to collaborate with the ministry, and by implication, our government, the federal government, to be sure that Nigerian people are served. And to do that, we have to all bend over backwards to see that we all converge here today and quickly try to resolve where we have concerns. But I want to indulge my distinguished colleagues and my honorable members that we try as much as possible to keep our comments and questions within the context of the budget, particularly the 2024 budget. There might be other issues we'll be interested in. We are going to have other sections after the budget presentation. With these brief remarks, may I invite the chairman for Industry, Senate Committee on Industry, for his brief remarks.
Realize that Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is a single ministry headed by one single minister and one PAMSEC, and is the bedrock of this particular administration. My main concern is how to revive the moribund industries, the ailing ones, and how to move immediately to salvage the SMEs. This is what we are expecting in this budget. And the federal government, under the leadership of President Asiwaju, is bent on providing more opportunities, particularly employment opportunities, by reviving all these industries, by going into the real technical needs, by providing funds for SMEs, which is the bedrock of the economy. With this, with the National Assembly, particularly the Trade and Minister, the Committee on Industry, is ready to assist Mr. President to achieve this in the next few years, so that at least all the youth unrest will cease. On this note, we employed all our colleagues, whatever we can do to assist Mr. President to achieve his goal. That is the essence of this regime. And we want all the parastatals under the ministry to adhere strictly to the provision of this budget and make sure they are implemented to the benefit of the masses. Thank you very much.
Once again, we are witnessing the essence of strategic collaboration between the executive and the legislative arms of government for the primary purpose of delivering good governance, in line with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President to the Nigerian citizens. The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and her agencies remain a major driver and artery of our national economy, whereby its operations define the critical parameter of assessing good governance and effective delivery of dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people. Furthermore, today marks another day of exercising the constitutional obligations and legislative mandates by both the House of Representatives and the Senate as provided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me affirm to you all that the 10th National Assembly shall be extremely guided by the legislative requirement of a thorough budget scrutiny and with your willingness to work with us in a transparent manner, and we do not perceive any complication in this process. It is important to re-emphasize that the implementation of this budget is as important and vital as the passage of the bill to this joint committee and the Nigerian people. The Nigerian citizens, as well as governments and investors world over, are looking up to us with great expectation to establish the parameters for the execution of the task ahead, to reinvigorate the economy, and for the populace of our beloved Nigeria move in an upward socio-economic trajectory. Thank you.
The ministry I'm conversant with, because I was privileged to be on this seat in the last assembly also. So it's the Honorable Minister that I want to welcome. And from the PAMSEC down to the other directors, they will tell you that they got maximum cooperation the last time. So you can expect same this time and improving on your former behavior. Thank you so much.
I and myself with the presiding co-chairman to adopt the remarks made at the opening session of this meeting to enable us make progress. Thank you.
I'm delighted to be here today to present the 2024 budget by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. I am delighted to be before you, distinguished senators and House members. The 2024 budget of the ministry is made up of selected projects and programs designed to stimulate economic growth and national development. These projects and programs are also intended to fast-track the attainment of the renewed hope agenda in the Industry, Trade and Investment Ministry. The ministry remains committed to achieving its vision of promoting economic growth, creating jobs and generating wealth, as well as formulating and implementing policies and programs that will attract both foreign direct investment and increase the local participation by local industries, boost industrialization, increase trade and exports, and also encourage development of enterprises. Distinguished senators and honorable members, this ministry is currently implementing several strategies, policies, plans, and programs targeted at economic recovery and growth of employment and creation of wealth in Nigeria. Some of these plans, programs, and policies include the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, the National Enterprise Development Plan, the Trade Policy of Nigeria 2023 to 2027, and the National Investment Policy 2023 to 2027. In addition, the ministry has continued to play a vital role in facilitating the ease of doing business, which has led to a substantial increase in investment in the local economy and enhanced industrialization efforts of the government. It is pertinent to mention here that within the framework of the National Development Plan, the ministry has continued to assiduously pursue the following strategic objectives. A, creation of an enabling environment for the Nigerian industry, trade, and investment sectors to enhance ease of doing business. B, implementation of Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan to rapidly enhance industrial capacity and improve competitiveness within the sector. C, sustained development of the micro, small, and medium enterprises and the medium enterprise sectors to achieve industrial growth and development. D, proactive attraction of domestic and foreign investment. And E, facilitation of enhanced trade and market access to stimulate investments and encourage patronage of made in Nigeria products and services. In addition to the programs I've mentioned, we have also developed a number of new initiatives and interventions that we believe will drive the change that Nigeria needs. These include revolutionary consumer credit reforms that will address the gaps in current consumer credit ecosystem to ensure that it contributes to Nigeria's economic growth by stimulating consumption. We know how hard things have been for our people, and in more developed countries, that burden is softened because people have access to credit and can buy anything that they need. These reforms will reduce the burden on our citizens. We are also improving the present state of our commodities that are traded. We have identified the challenges and are ready to begin implementing a regulatory and operational framework that will drastically improve our commodity exchange and agri-market system, and in turn, Nigeria's global trading outlook. We realize that to truly improve global trade, we also need to improve the areas of trade facilitation and trade liberalization. Another area we're addressing is the licensing and certification of our artisans. As a nation, we have decided that we want to improve our manufacturing sector. We want to invite foreign organizations to build their factories here and to reduce our reliance on imports. But the only way we can do this is by ensuring that our local workforce is also skill ready and ready to adapt to take up this challenge. We want to ensure that our local workforce has the capacity to take on the jobs that we are working very hard to create. We have developed a program that will address this and enable us to empower, train, certify, and track artisans, and also bring them from the informal sector into the tax net. The program will also provide opportunities for more skilled artisans to join work abroad programs, in which they will gain much needed global experience. As we churn out world-class workforce, the new National Talent Export Program will ensure their readiness for service export, which will increase our foreign exchange revenues. Investment promotion is another key area of focus for us. In the past, we have seen and heard many announcements of large investments coming to Nigeria, but in the end, we don't see them materialize on ground. To this end, we are developing the Nigeria Deal Room. The Deal Room will ensure that once investments are announced, they will be supported through every stage until they are actualized and all roadblocks are removed. The Deal Room will also enable Nigeria to present a united face to foreign investors and provide a platform to ensure all investments are given the visibility that they deserve. We are initiating a rebranding campaign tagged Make It in Nigeria. This is a project that is targeted at selling Nigeria as a valuable brand and encouraging FDIs and the outsourcing of business processes to Nigeria. In addition to this, Make It in Nigeria encourages us as Nigerians to patronize local products and, most importantly, teach our youths that with the strides the government is making, they have what it takes to be successful and to make it right here in Nigeria. Also important is the project preparation facility that we've undertaken to bring projects to the feasibility stage, making it easier to sell and attract investments. Distinguished senators and honorable members, without further ado, please permit me to present to the committee the 2023 budget performance of the ministry and also the 2024 budget proposal. The amount appropriated for the main ministry in 2023 and the actual receipts for capital development, personnel, and overhead costs are hereby outlined. Summary of our budget performance as at October 2023. Budget type 1, personnel cost. Appropriation was 3,344,394,515. Releases 100%. Overhead. Appropriation was 812,525,000. Releases 68%. That's budget performance for that was 68%. For capital, we had appropriated 2.8 billion approximately. Total release was 311 million. Budget performance is 11%. Overview of the 2024 budget proposal. Personnel, 5.1 billion, based on staff strength as provided by IPs. Overhead, 905 million, approximately, which is slightly increased. Capital, 8.1 billion, based on ceiling. Revenue, 2.5 billion projected. Our IGR as of October 2023. Projected IGR was 1.9 billion. Actual generated was 2.1 billion. Remittance to Consolidated Revenue Fund was 2.08 billion. The online charge was 15 million. So our budget performance on revenue generation was 108%. Our target for 2024 is 2.5 billion. This revenue was generated internally through the following departments of the ministry. 1. Weights and Measures Department. In 2023, as at October 2023, the projected revenue for the department was 950 million. So far, they've generated 81% of that, approximately 770 million. For the projection for 2024 is 1 billion. At this point, I would like to seek the assistance of the chairman to look into the retention of 20% that was initially approved for by the president then for the Ways and Measures Department. But in the 2021 Finance Act, that was removed. So they do not have the ability to retain any of their IGR earnings, and this will impact our ability to provide standards and verification of meteorology for especially the non-oil and gas sector, which includes water, health, electricity, communication, and agricultural produce. We would like to seek your permission, Chairman, to please consider and help us to reinstate this particular line item. Thank you. The Commercial Law Department, which includes the trademark and patents and design, the revenue generated within the periods under review. For 2023, as at October 2023, the projection was 981 million, generated was 77%, approximately 760 million. For 2024, our projection is 1 billion, 1.04 billion. For the Federal Produce Inspection Unit under export fumigation, 2023, as at October 2023, projection was 100 million, and they generated approximately 340 million, which represent a 333% increase over their projection. For this year, we are projecting 500 million. Other sources of revenue in the ministry include tender fees, late notification, sales of government assets, rent, backward integration certificates, application fee for certificate of acceptance, and certificate of acceptance fee. For year 2023, as of October 2023, our projection was 100 million. So far, we've generated 233 million, representing approximately 234%. For year 2024, we are projecting 250 million revenue. Distinguished senators and honorable members, the budget for Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in year 2023 and 2024 are summarized as follows. Amount for 2023, overhead 812 million, approximately, let me call it all out, 812,525,910 naira. For capital, it was 2,866,189,874 naira. For 2024, our overhead is projected to be 905,127,174 naira and 2 kobo. For capital, our projection is, our request, because this is what we're requesting, is 8,134,339,971 naira 7 kobo. Distinguished senators and honorable members, it is important to note that the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is largely anchored by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, and a lot is required to achieve this. And it is my prayer that you would use your good office to consider increasing this budget to support our work. It is on the above note that I request your invaluable support in delivering on the set objectives of the ministry to enhance the development and growth of the Nigerian economy. I, therefore, want to thank our distinguished senators and honorable members for their unwavering support to the ministry as we anticipate the committee's early finalization of our 2024 budget. Thank you, and may God bless you all and bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The usual procedure we do, like I've already guided initially, is that you present your 2023 budget performance. When we finish, we proceed to your 2024 budget. However, in the spirit of the super integrated business we are doing here, you too, I'm sure you went ahead to present the 2023 and you presented the 2024. So we will accept it because we want to make sure we do everything as fast as we can. So that's very good. That's fine. It's okay. It's helpful. We received both the 2023 budget performance and 2024 budget. So you are free to ask any question you have or comment either from 2023 budget performance or 2024 presentation. However, please be specific, tell us which you are commenting on and make reference to the right page so that we can all follow what you have. Yes, please.
On the presentation of the Honorable Minister, which may extend to the performance of 2023, and by extension, what will be expected in 2024. Honorable Minister, if the distinguished senators in attendance of this session and members of the House of Representatives here were not here at work, the exercise wouldn't have been holding. Honorable Minister, I am saying this with utmost concern that you have abandoned your official office. You are hardly there. I have been there twice. The office is as empty as an unblessed grave. You have chosen to be operating from Bank of Industry. When you were nominated by the President to serve as a Minister of the Federal Republic, having been in Bank of Industry, if that was still and is still your choice, you should have turned down the nomination. You must always be in your office, please, for the office to be optimally, to function optimally.
Backward integration program means that we have to issue import waivers for you to bring in this product, and they drop a lot of the tariffs and give you a lot of incentives. But it's become quite juicy for a lot of these manufacturers, and for some reason they've slowed down on implementing a full development or full implementation of that program by building the industries that are required. We're actually trying to firm up that regulatory framework to go after them and cut off some of them, or whatever policies or tools that would use to force the full integration or full implementation of the BIP program. Yes, I agree also that the waivers are a revenue leakage for the country, and using the rebate system is a more effective way of actually giving out incentives or waivers to people. If we can actually agree on this, we are very happy as a ministry to key into the program. What we issue is just papers, really. For example, we issue the import duty exemption certificate, IDEC, for importers of of machines and tools, equipment to set up their industries. And that ultimate waiver is given by the Ministry of Budget and Planning and the Ministry of Finance. But we can all agree and come up with a singular framework for how this should be done and how we can implement the waiver system and bring in a rebate system. From Senator Adada, so the free trade zones are actually one of the ways that countries have achieved fast industrialization. But the purpose of the free trade zones have been also abused in Nigeria. Free trade zones, by their nature, are actually areas that are designated as an export processing zone. Worldwide, what what happens is most products that happen within the free trade zone, you export 90% of them. Only 10% may be allowed into the custom area, but within the same stringent rules and regulations that guide the industries within the custom zone. In Nigeria, it's the other way around. I don't think that a lot of the people understand the concept of the free zone. And to speak to what this administration is currently doing, His Excellency, the President, has given us the approval to review and reform the free trade zone. And this was also approved at FEC. So we started the review and the reform of the free trade zone, starting with investigation and listing out all the issues that are wrong with our free zone, and basically investigating why the free zones have not really supported the economic activity or economic development of the country. And in due course, that report will be ready, and I'll come back and present to the House. The question on tariffs, reducing the import duty, the import tariffs, is the same as the question or one of the that was raised on waivers, or the concern that was raised on waivers. Tariffs are actually effective tools by government to incentivize industrialization or local production of goods and services that you already have a comparative advantage in your country. Even if you don't have a comparative advantage, it's used to dissuade importation of goods and services while protecting local industries and increasing job creation and employment. Unfortunately, we haven't also done very well in using this tool to our own advantage. I've actually met a lot of manufacturers, and I've also gotten a lot of these complaints around how we haven't been effectively supporting local industries through the use of tariffs. Like you mentioned, tariffs for unimported vehicle has dropped from 30% to 5%, effectively opening up your borders to competition from goods that are produced or manufactured in other countries. We know that within Nigeria, cost of goods produced is quite high. We really don't have the raw materials. We don't have the electricity.
Excuse me, tariff on new imported vehicles.
On new imported vehicles.
Not all vehicles.
Yes. Even the used vehicles at this point, following the National Automotive Development Council framework, we have to begin to rethink this tariff system. I think that we should increase tariffs on imported vehicles to to stimulate production in Nigeria. We have a lot of people who have already set up their assembly plants. We start with the automotive industry is also enjoying the BIP, the backward integration program. We have to look into that to dissuade importation of finished items and promote assembly of. Sure.
You are talking about import duty on new vehicles.
On new vehicles, yes.
Which has been slashed down to about 5%.
Yes.
And you're talking about encouraging local production.
Yes.
I thought the whole essence of establishing local assembly plants is to support, the company that established the local assembly plant.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
But if you slash the import duty on imported vehicles, you are more or less making it counterproductive, because they will not be able to compete favorably with the imported vehicles.
That's why I'm saying we should.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm saying we should increase the tariff, not reduce.
Very good.
Yeah. That's my own proposal.
Okay, that's good.
That's the only way we can stimulate production in Nigeria.
Very good. That's it.
Yes, and my apologies to Senator Adada that visited me while I wasn't in office. My office is also undergoing renovation, and I've also traveled quite a bit. Maybe one of those periods he came and I wasn't around. I want to reassure the House that it does not matter where I work from. I worked in Imo State, a rural state, for 2 years as Commissioner for Finance and Coordinating Economy. And this was even during the height of insecurity, and that did not deter me from carrying out my job or my role effectively. I want to assure you that it has nothing to do with the building or the location. I'm always going to carry out my job or my role to the best of my ability. Thank you.
You generate 338 million, while you projected for 500. And then the second one, you also projected in 2023, 100 million, and you generate 233. Yet in 2024, you only project for 250. Don't you think there is need for you to realign and look at this, given that the projections were almost triple with what was projected last year and what you're projecting now?
Actually, the figure for 2024, the estimate was provided from the budget office, and they have taken into consideration the salary increases based on the personnel information that's available on the IPPISM platform. And then on recruitment, the Federal Civil Service Commission has the constitutional responsibility, for recruitment, and they also work with the Office of the Head of Service, depending on the cadre of officers to be recruited. So the ministry does not, if we need staff in the administrative cadre, we request from the Office of Head of Service, and then if we need from the technical cadre, we actually request, but at this point in time, there's an embargo on employment.
Except they are increased, not much can be projected. The fees they are charging, they are still charging very meager rates. So we are working with those rates. Nobody can do magic. For instance, now if you go to court to swear affidavit, you are charged either 550 kobo. So when you are making your projection, you base it on that rate. Except that the National Assembly will beef up the rates. We cannot come up with something like you're expecting, something higher. So the thing, you people still have a role to play. That is by assisting us beef up the rates to be charged. We cannot on our own start charging contrary to government stipulations. So that's the problem.
On some of the trade policies that we think will take the country forward. And we can look at them holistically so that we don't also disadvantage any sector of the economy. We will definitely be knocking on your doors very soon, as we have a lot of ideas on what we think that we can propose to take the country forward. On ease of doing business, well, currently I'm also the vice chairman of the ease of doing business committee, and we're looking at how to reduce this cost of doing business in Nigeria. Unfortunately, like we mentioned, Honorable, there are lots of issues in the country. Insecurity, cost of power, logistics, multiple taxation, multiple roadblocks, and even the import tariffs, duties, and all of that. We, as a government, are very mindful of this and working assiduously using the ease of doing business that is being financed by the World Bank to ensure that we actually remove the bottlenecks and reduce as much as we can the cost of doing business in Nigeria. This is so important that we must do that now, because now if the African Continental Free Trade Agreement kicks in and Nigeria is not a minimum cost producer, we will be disadvantaged. It means that we will continue to be import dependent. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement means that there's a removal of tariff between countries in Africa to trade. And we cannot reject any import that comes into Nigeria because it is against the agreement. We will be obliged to accept whatever comes into the country as an import. Now, you can only import, so we would then be leveraging on free trade to reject some import because it's expensive. That's the law of competition, right? So if the products that are imported, even under the free trade agreement, is more expensive than the one you locally produce, consumers will naturally buy the ones that are cheaper using the law of demand and supply. This is what we will leverage on. It therefore means that for Nigeria to be competitive, we must drop our cost of doing business. We must. There is no brainer to it. So this ease of doing business thing is one thing I can assure you that I will champion with the best of my strength to ensure that we find ways of dropping the cost of manufacturing, especially in Nigeria. We must be competitive and the country must survive. We want to get to the point of being a net exporter, finished goods and manufactured goods, not a net importer of finished goods and manufactured goods. At the moment, we're exporting a lot of our raw material. The president has given a mandate that he wants to see export of value added of semi-processed or even finished goods out of Nigeria, not raw materials. For us to be able to achieve this and be competitive or achieve a comparative advantage, we must drop our cost of doing business. So I want to assure you that this is on our front burner and we'll do all we can to do it. And this is why I was asking for extra budgetary support. Unfortunately, I would like to explain to Comrade who thinks that my budget is too high. So we have 22 departments in the ministry, over 2,000 staff, and we are present in every state of the country. That overhead you're seeing is not even sufficient. In the 2023, I used my own personal money to do the travels that you've seen, because the monies that are even provided for this investment drive by the ministry was not reflective of the inflation that we're currently seeing. Even the budget doesn't reflect the inflation that we're seeing and the inflationary pressures and the foreign exchange devaluation that we're witnessing. I can submit it over and over that that fund is not sufficient to fund our activities and to do all the major work that we have to do as a ministry to turn around the economy. I would like to talk about the balance of trade. Your Excellency, when I entered the office, that was the first thing I asked for. And it is unfortunate to mention here that we do not have that record in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. That record probably exists, but not with the ministry. It exists with the customs and the central bank. If you notice, if you look in my budget line, there is a line item I provided there for trade intelligence. I propose to set up a trade intelligence unit right in my office. The purpose of the trade intelligence unit is to gather data. There is no way the Minister of Trade of any nation I know of can formulate or promulgate policies that is not based on data or that is not based on scientific evidence. We don't have that data. The data that we can even get from custom is also not accurate, because we are still using manual methods of collecting data rather than automated method of collecting data. If you look at in the most industrialized countries, when goods even come in, there is very minimal manual or human intervention with their goods that come in, their cargo. From the time, from origination, when cargo leaves the point of origination to when they get into the destination port, there is automated tracking. Custom is already aware of what is coming in. When it comes in, it's scanned at the port of entry. So all of this data, the quantity you're bringing in, the item itself that you're bringing, the description, is available. It's in digital format. Now we are using AI technology to do a lot of data mining. Nigeria does not have it. I'm proposing to set up, the fund is not even, but we're managing the resources that we have to even situate, starting with having a database where we can even collect the data that is available and begin to analyze them and determine and even see, just based on what we even have, what is our balance of trade. The balance of trade is what fits into your balance of payment. If you're a net exporter, your foreign reserves will go up. If you're a net importer, your foreign reserves will go down. For us to survive as a country, our balance of trade and balance of payment must be positive. It must take care of our imports and have enough reserve to buffer any economic shock that could happen. We don't have that, Your Excellency. But I propose to create one in my ministry, and when I come again, by the grace of God, I'm sure I will come for maybe quarterly review and all of that. We should have started something, and I'll be able to give you the data and figures then.
For example, in Nigeria now, what's our population? How many people come in every day? How many people go out? Everybody is collecting data. We have national identity, we have NIN. net telecommunication is collecting BVI, but we don't have any serious consolidated data with data integrity that we can say this is what it is. And this is what we must solve in this country, or else we will not be able to plan. But they are not coordinated properly, maybe deliberate, in my own opinion. I think some people don't want that done.
But I'd like to hear her thoughts on that.
It doesn't.
Already I answered. That's what I answered.
She's going to have our own intelligence unit. That means more overhead, more personnel, chairman of the unit, PAMSEC of the unit, assistant director of the unit.
But I still repeat that as much as those data are scattered everywhere, it will take deliberate effort, deliberate platform, deliberate system to have a data that you can confidently say, this is it that I'm going to work out. And that will still cost money. Thank you.
But it seems everybody seems to be driving at the same point, whether it's waivers, whether it is ease of doing business and what have you. And which brings us down to the point that you made about the Finance Act that has to do with weights and measures. It's a bill that's currently going through the House of Reps, soon to be in the Senate, and hopefully to the President for assent. So this is something you can track as well. We'll work together. However, there's something also equally important in the Finance Act that I feel is a cancer, but I would like to hear your suggestions. It is shackling the FCCPC from venturing into mergers or activities of banks. I think the general theme, without being mentioned here, is the only thing more dangerous than public monopoly is private monopoly. So that is something that we should also look at and see how we can reverse that trend. It seems that there's a lot of attention that is being paid on ease of bringing in exports. I think we need to look for innovative ways that we can also, our exporters from within our country can take things out. And not everybody can be present in a trade-free zone, but I think it's time we need to think out of the box. If you have plans for specific, you can call them export warehouses or whatever the case may be, where our manufacturers and people that are, farmers, etc., proper packaging, take it to these warehouses. They have these export warehouses should have two functions. The first one is to ensure that the quality according to world standards are being met, so that people can reduce wastage and loss from after sending our products out to be rejected, whether it be cocoa, whether it be whatever have you. So this is one. But the second most important thing is the automation aspect of it, so that we can reduce the barriers and cost. It should be a station whereby SON, customs, NAFDAC, whatever have you, can be able to pass them, have a barcode. Once they get to the port, scan, let them go out, so that all our perishable products don't get exhausted in our ports, and it's also a loss. So what I'm saying is this will capture more people, surprisingly all the way down to the informal sector that we want to capture. And most important of all, we've heard beautiful speeches, beautiful etc., but I think implementation is what matters. What we have here are documents, but how do we execute what we find here? I am worried, and I would like to know, what are you doing with the variance of information that comes firstly from within the ministry and her agencies? Just for example, CAC, NIPC makes an announcement, then somebody else makes a different announcement that contradicts what one agency is saying. Should there be a funnel, an hourglass system, that there just has to be a clearinghouse before announcements are made, so that they're not made and being retracted and it shakes the market? Once you say charity begins at home, that is cleared. The same thing also, CBN, whatever have you, cannot just wake up and make a particular policy without consulting your ministry in this, and how does it affect investors or people that are in the commerce sector or in the trade sector or what have you. So what mechanism is being put in place to ensure that Nigeria or the government speaks with one clear voice and is consistent when it comes to policies. Thank you.
Had a lot of problems on assuming the duty on this. Part of our problem is part of your problem are free trade zone. You know, after free trade zone, we have industrial parks, call it everything. When the last government voted a lot of fund to develop the place, today, as you can see, it's almost a scam, fraud. If you look at industrial areas which were established by the same federal government, the implementation was terrible. Go to Kano, where billions of naira has been invested, you find out nothing. And energy there is zero. And billions of naira has been invested by the same government through free trade zone, that's NEBSA. Kano, nothing to write home about. What you see there are individual industries, small industries, and they are just experiencing power problem there. Move to Calabar. They have started energy project on Calabar, on this free trade zone there. Today is in darkness, and billions of naira are already gone. Then you move to the father of all, that's Lekki Industrial Free Trade Zone. The individuals have already developed that area. You see Dangote, you see most of these Chinese and Indians. To the extent that there is a private port there. So, my dear sister, the concept of a free trade zone is to make an area, designated area, to be a foreign country, where you see adults, Nigerians, go inside and foreign investors go inside to produce many locally consumed things to Nigeria. But most of them are for export. 10% will pass through custom and pay small duty. But today, I don't think they are producing anything other than those foreigners that are trying their best. If you go to Tinker Island Port, that area, there is another free trade zone there on the island. Mostly they are foreigners. The only areas where we have is around the other Lekki side. A lot of money has been voted. This year again, you see billions of naira voted. I don't, by what federal government had already invested on this free trade zone, I don't think Nigerians should lack any good, they should be enjoying good and cheap materials. We call for a serious investigation on what had happened in the last 5 years. And the Senate will be waiting for your investigation. Then you now go to all those other commission, like Sugar Commission. Senator Adamu has said it all. But we that headed that trade and investment then, we tore down to his locality where these sugar factories and agricultural products are supposed to be. When you get there today, it's a carcass of its own. And the Sugar Commission, that billions of naira have been voted to monitor that place. Then you now go to a port, you see a lot of sugar factories around the Kwe. What is brought there today is raw sugar, just to package to Nigerians. where all these are found are, including the waivers and exceptions we have given, government should be able to investigate very well so that at least we move forward. Without investigating what happened in the past, Nigeria cannot move forward. There are a lot of serious investors that want to come. They are at the inception, and even local investors want to invest in Nigeria. But when you think of the moribund industries, like Osogbo rolling mills, Katsina rolling mills, these are all industries that have produced a lot of jobs for a lot of people, including traders. But in the last 25 years, nobody thinks of them to bring them up. All what we are seeing now are the iron rod being manufactured through scraps. So, my dear sister and my dear brothers, the automotive industry too is not doing fine. They are mostly dominated by foreigners. Few Nigerians like my brother in Nnewi, then about 2 or 3 in Lagos. There are about 3 Nigerians are there. But the ones that are around Ibadan, they are majoring in importing finished goods, selling at a higher price to the people. Your ministry must look into it. If not, we will take action from here. So, my dear minister, you have given us all what we intend to do to change the narratives, to set up modular industries that can bring jobs to all the young ones. And with this, we'll be able to, I will refer you again to page 10 of your submission, your budget proposal, items 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. We need a lot of clarification on this, so that it will not be business as usual. So on this note, all of that will be when we meet again, so that I can stop for others to talk. Thank you, Mr.
So finally, for me, we've accepted that trade and investment industry just have to work in Nigeria. It is our next feature. We are already here. We have no option, really, in my opinion. And thank God you seems to be a fit for that position. You understand clearly from your speech. And there has been so much concern raised everywhere that, okay, you know what you want to do, but the budget and what they are seeing might appear to be the usual business, that is coming. What I want to see, which is what we are going to be expecting from you, because as committees, not only trade and investment with industry, we intend to be a serious committee, not to only oversight you, but to support you to achieve that we say we must do for this country, to renew the hope of this country. And the president is committed to that. And from our committee members, you can see we have people who are very experienced, who are passionate, who understand the issues. So consider all the comments, concerns, questions as an opportunity to see things from other people's, perspective. And then you need to go back and see how you will improve on what you plan to do and be able to do better. Particularly, we will want to see your final report as far as the investigation of what's happening in the free zones. All the EEG we give, all the money we've been throwing around to basically stimulate trade, promote trade, encourage investment. That's why we've established several, establishments, agencies. But are we getting the result? And it's very simple. Forget about all the inputs that are in there. All we care about is what is our balance of trade. You've given money for people to encourage export. Okay, you've given 300 billion to people. After that, what is that export they can show that they've done for the country. Free zone, okay, we've invested so much infrastructure, personnel, and so on. How much of that export have they been doing? We need that data. That balance of trade is very, very important. And I know it's going to be a lot of hard work, even though this data is flying around, but that has to be properly aggregated and saved. So I will be looking forward to that, because that will be a basis of where we are going to be working with you and be supporting you to make sure you achieve your goals. For me, you've made a comment about Weights and Measures Department. And looking at it, in 2023, they projected that they should raise 950 million. Is that 950 million? Right? They generated 769 million with no support to them at all. So if a finance person is looking at this, say, okay, this guy, do they really need any support? You said this is your target and this is what you did. Now in 2024, they are moving to 1 billion. I think, from what I understand, the role of Weights and Measures is so broad in our economy. It affects all our lives. These guys can go out there and do so much work. But for them to do this work, they need resources, manpower, technology. They need it. Meanwhile, the little they are generating, they are remitting 100% into the federation account. Meanwhile, other people are remitting about 40%, are retaining 60%. I don't know what the basis of that is, but we are going to engage our colleagues in finance and we look at this. Because really, I think that they need to be supported more and do more. But if we're able to do that, this 1 billion is joke. It can't be 1 billion. I expect that we should be able to multiply this and move. Minister, you know, it's not only Weights and Measures, even for things like trademarks, patent, all of them, they are all, we need to comprehensively look at it. You can work with your team, package this, let's see it. As long as we see a justification that we are going to not only generate revenue for federal government, but add value to citizens' life, because there are implications of people doing wrong things because our regulators are not able to do the right thing. The same thing with Tafawa Balewa Square, International, a lot of them can generate more revenue if we support them to be able to be functional. Lastly, there is something that we shouldn't be doing the same thing. For example, I'm particularly angry, for example, when I look at your budget speech on page 5. Let me take the last one, number 3, FPIS, export fumigation. 2023, they say their budget projection is 100 million? And they did 338 million. And they are moving it to 500 million. Okay, sorry, I thought it was 100,000, really. That's why I was getting angry. What are you, 100,000? You can't buy flight and bring you, into Abuja. Okay, fine. So, but on the whole, please, let's continue to do the same thing. Some of these charges, I'm sure people are charging, is so minute that it doesn't make sense with the current economic reality. Who is supposed to review this? What are we waiting for? If we need laws to review it, please bring it. We are here. That's why we are here. We are to support you, complement you, give you the enabling environment, give you the right teeth to be able to bite and deliver. But we will oversight you and make sure that your guys are doing the right thing in the interest of the country. And when I say we will do that, you don't need to doubt it. I have one soldier here, he's a 10-man army on his own. We have a lot of, you are the ones, you are the one we find. So we are prepared. He recruited you, so you can see we are prepared to oversight. We are ready to support you, but let our people do the right thing in the interest of the country. God will help us, and by the grace of God, this country will move forward. But trade and investment, you are our key to really taking that leap. Please, let's do this.
The ministry is proposing 8.1 billion naira for capital expenditure and targets 2.5 billion naira revenue in 2024. This is where we come to the end of this edition of the program from the National Assembly. We thank you very much for watching. Join us same time next week for another interesting package. Until then, I'm Lami Ali saying bye for now.